Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a fantastic day. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. It's going to be a bit of a doozy because today is the big day. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says $30,000 is set to be the next big test for Bitcoin. This is being echoed by a number of analysts and professional, if you will, cryptocurrency traders out there. $30,000 is not a test. It is not a barrier. It is not something that we have not gone above multiple other times before, as has been the case since about a good year and a half now. $30,000 is inevitable. It's just a matter of if we get good news today that we hopefully have all been waiting for. A lot of times I notice, and I think it's more sensational than anything. Can Bitcoin pass by $27,415.11? And these really weird things like that. Nothing is stopping Bitcoin from passing by $30,000 other than the Federal Reserve. That's basically the long and short of it. For those of you, once again, not looking at the screen, today is the FOMC meeting. Basically, the Federal Reserve is going to announce whether they are going to be raising interest rates or giving an indication. If people can usually tell, and sometimes they say, like, listen, we're giving you this number. If they're going to be raising interest rates by 0.25, if they're going to go for 0.50, if they think that them lowering inflation hasn't worked and then they decide to give us a hefty 0.75 once again, or if they're going to announce that this is the final one for this year because their efforts in trying to lower inflation have actually worked out. Everyone's trying to figure this out right now. This is why I wrote, and you saw, this is the big day. It's literally go time. It says the Dow Jones closes nearly 700 points lower in a broad sell-off as all indexes cap their worst day of 2023. People are not too excited and or optimistic right now because it appears as if the Fed, having spoken a couple of days ago, believes that they should continue to be hawkish, is the word that keeps getting thrown around, as opposed to dovish, basically meaning they caused inflation. They keep saying that they're trying to counteract what they caused, but they're not doing a good enough job, and therefore they may have to continue raising interest rates. You might remember, you might even look at today's date and say, this looks very familiar, or we spoke about this before. We are very close to March. Can anyone tell me what March is? Yeah, it's meant to be the time where they stop raising interest rates. We've been talking about this since last August. Think about how insane that is and how quickly time has flown. We are now at the point that we were talking about a good 6-7 months ago, where the Federal Reserve and the other world markets and leaders and banks were giving indications that by March they would be done raising interest rates. We would hit the illustrious 5% interest rate within the United States markets. And basically the rest of the year would be, almost said jolly good fun. I don't know why that was the term that was going to come out. It says FOMC meeting minutes are to be closely watched by global investors. Yes, everybody wants to know what they're going to do. For some reason, it's one person, and I said this before, who stands on a pedestal, on a soapbox, and tells the rest of the world how good or how bad their economy is going to be. We've had pretty okay earnings reports from a number of companies. Things don't look too bad. Inflation has, air quotes, actually fallen. The Fed keeps stating that they want inflation to be around the 2% range, which is the historical number that they've constantly been going for. A number of analysts, if you want to call them that, have all been mimicking and sprouting and parroting the same thing. announcing that if the Fed continues to raise interest rates, that is to say, if March is not the end for the year, or if we don't get another 0.25 and then another 0.25 and then they stop, people fear that this would tip the world's economy into a literal recession, and things would only get worse. As we have seen also, there a lot of the, I think, real estate numbers within the United States have also come out, and I think the expectations were higher than they actually should have been, and it was recorded as 0.7 of a loss, meaning less people were trying to buy, but people are broke. I'm not understanding. I think these people live in a completely different world than the world of actual people. You know how like sometimes if you have ever seen any episode of the Kardashians or any other like rich people show or things like that, like they don't live in actual reality. The idea that the many companies have done 10, 15 to 20% layoffs of their employees, the amount of people who can't afford their rent, the amount of rent that's been doubling or tripling, people have been moving back in with their families, the cost of food doubling or tripling, even just within the United States. Listen, you can find the videos on YouTube. It is absolutely insane what's happening. And then to assume that because inflation dropped by 2.5%, people are going to be running to buy homes again. The world is in a very weird position right now where you can tell that a lot of the people who run the world, the governments, the banks, they've gone completely unscathed by any downward trend in any markets that we've seen over the last year and a half. I just watched something last night. It was one of those like 7-8 minute like news things where they talk about something. And I think the companies who are buying up tons of real estate, as they've been doing over the last year and a half because of BlackRock's AI called Aladdin. Yeah, look that one up. They actually did, they gained 7 to 8% last year, market-wise. 7 to 8% they rose, while the rest of the market dropped by 19%. They don't live in our world. They're not in the same cloud that we are all in. So I don't know. It's all very, very odd. Anyway, the point is, yes, it says FOMC minutes, what to look for when details from the latest Fed meeting drop on Wednesday. It's basically, you'll know what they had to say 5 minutes after they're done talking, because our markets are either going to be pumping very hard or they're going to be falling because the Fed announces that they don't think that inflation has gone down low enough. It is a very big day. Hold on to your hats, your horses, and to your shoes, those red rocket boots that everyone's wearing on Instagram for some reason right now. Hold on to those, because it could get a bit choppy. We'll see. By tonight we will know, but it's more of a just be prepared kind of thing. That's all the price news right now. There was very little Bitcoin's doing this, Bitcoin's doing that, Bitcoin's going to be going here. It's more of a everyone's looking for what the Fed is going to be talking about today. And yeah, let's move on. In the most popular news story of the day, I could have told you this one. Solana Spaces, the Solana-themed retail storefront, has announced the closure of its company-owned and operated stores on Tuesday. Another ambitious initiative frozen by the prolonged crypto winter. Let me tell you something. This is not because of the crypto winter. They said we've made, and I'm tired of people, listen, you can only blame so many things on the crypto winter and on the collapse of FTX. You can't blame everything on it. They said we've made the difficult decision to sunset our stores in New York City and Miami by the end of February, and to pivot our Solana onboarding efforts into digital products like Drip. Okay. Our free NFT product with more than 100K signups, according to the Solana Spaces Twitter account. Here's the tweet for it right here. Last summer, Solana Spaces launched its first physical store in New York's Hudson Yards. The store aimed to act as a Web3 onboarding space for newcomers. where Solana faithful could buy their favorite Solana branded merch. One, I think people now this is maybe just me and my friends group. A lot of people are tired of merch. People are tired of buying things, and once again, maybe that's just me. Maybe my investment plan has shifted. I'm not exactly sure. If you haven't lived in the last 30 or so years, welcome to Earth. If you have been here, you may have noticed a trend of people doing things online. You might have missed it. Since like 1995, the internet came about and people seem to be on it a lot. A number of malls have been closing. A number of shops and stores are no longer being visited because people prefer to do things online now. I'm not sure. Like, I understand the idea behind it, and I would assume that the person who probably thought of the idea of creating a storefront for Solana is probably of the mindset that people wanted to go back to physical stores. If you are a database like Solana is, and you exist only online, maybe make a Solana, metaverse, as opposed to an actual physical store. This has nothing to do with a prolonged winter. I think it has to do with the fact that, for those of you who missed the news, we got news at the end of last year, at the beginning of 2022. I think the amount of people who were developers on Solana was roughly around 800 or 900. That is 800 to 900. By the end of the year, that number had fallen to 7. That is SEVEN, siete, sieben, set. 7. I think a lot of people aren't really using Solana. I think, of course, you're still going to find people who are on it, who are admirers, who really love it and who really like it. You may have even noticed like a day or two, the price went up. And I think that's because some other coin or something like that, some other project moved onto Solana. A lot of people think that this happens because people are like, oh my gosh, that's absolutely amazing. They love this chain, so they're moving over to support it. No, usually the creators or developers pay people to move their projects. The same exact thing happens for Ethereum. A lot of times what happens for Ethereum and even Polygon tends to be organic, but there's always money flowing around to get someone to move to your... Anyway, the point is, this was the most popular news story of the day. Solana Spaces closed less than a year after opening. I feel like even more so with like maybe basic timing. I think so many companies and so many things expected the cryptocurrency market to continue rising sometime last year. It's more of they did it too late and they did it too early. As in, prices began falling at the beginning of 2022. They launched in July. The sentiment wasn't really there for the database anymore. That is Solana. And also, they did it too early in that. I feel like if this store launched in like 8 months from now, we have like a $38,000, $40,000 Bitcoin. Everyone's back in the market. And then they launch this thing. I feel like people would have actually gone to it, but it's also, no one wants a storefront thing anymore. You know how many, I buy everything online, every single gosh darn thing. And maybe if I have to go buy like, if I want like winter socks or something, I can buy that online. Like there's nothing really. Anyway, most popular news story of the day. That's a funny photo. Solana Spaces will close New York and Miami stores 7 months after opening. The photo on the screen is someone closing their blinds and someone's trying to look under it. That is a great photo, whoever made that. That's actually quite hilarious. Solana Spaces founder announces closure of retail stores. This reminds me very much of Bakkt and the New York Stock Exchange and all these other places trying to like make physical, like there have been so many attempts at like physical Bitcoin stores and Bitcoin ATMs. I saw something, I don't have it in any news here, about like the closures of or stopping of Bitcoin ATMs in America, and people being like, well, this is clearly bearish. No, dude, nobody wants to walk up to a freaking ATM and put physical money inside of it. This means you have to walk to another ATM. You have to leave your house. You have to put on clothes and shoes, find an ATM, take physical money out of it, sometimes get charged $4.99 for taking out your own money. Find a Bitcoin ATM, insert your physical cash inside of it, scan a QR code for your cryptocurrency address, and then figure out what you're going to do for the rest of your day, as opposed to just doing that all online in about 18 and a half seconds. It's not bearish that people don't want to go to Bitcoin ATMs. It's just realistic. If we're moving to a more digital world, why would you make more physical things? So anyway, that's the Solana stores are closing. Has anyone gone to one of these? Remember what I remember when these first launched, and I was like, no one's going to go to these. The sheer amount of mean-spirited comments that I get on a daily basis is absolutely out of control. I mean, did someone really think that this was going to take off? I know someone did. I have a friend who I haven't spoken to in a long time. Hello, if you're watching, sir. Who was adamant, and I mean you could not break through. Vibranium, adamantium, any kind of metal that doesn't exist, you name it. This guy believed that a coin, that is the coin from Akon, the singer, was going to be as big as Bitcoin. And I tried to sit him down, and I was like, please don't waste your money. You don't understand that this is not going to work out at all. And maybe that's why we haven't spoken. He was quite angry with me. It's fairly obvious what's going to make it and what's not going to make it, and this never had any chance. The most popular news story of the day is that a physical store location in the year 2023 for a database is closing. All right. And let's move on. In the second most popular news story of the day, developers are forking Bitcoin ordinals, that is to say the NFT protocol that is now on top of Bitcoin, to give older proof-of-work networks such as Litecoin their first set of NFTs. Over the weekend, Bitcoin developer Anthony Guerrera forked the code behind Bitcoin ordinals onto the Litecoin blockchain, placing a copy of Bitcoin's, or the latter's, I guess, Litecoin's, Mimblewimble upgrade white paper onto the Litecoin network, making it the first NFT on Litecoin in effect. Here's the tweet for it right here. Whoa, wonderful. There's a photo. That's crazy how they do that. The effort likely stemmed from a public bounty of 15 Litecoin by one crypto Twitter user to any developer who could fork the ordinals to the Litecoin blockchain. It says rules must work with Litecoin Core 0.21.2.1. Submit the GitHub repo below. First successful submission to port to Litecoin wins. For those of you who are unaware, Litecoin, I think it's considered or called a source code fork of Bitcoin. So it is not a fork of Bitcoin itself, but it is basically Bitcoin redeveloped and made twice as fast. 4 times as fast, 4 times as many coins, what have you. So historically, anything that works on Bitcoin works on Litecoin, that works on Litecoin works on Bitcoin. Litecoin years ago was more commonly known as the test net or test network, if you will, for Bitcoin, because anytime that anything works on Litecoin, it also works on Bitcoin. This gave us the flurry of excitement years ago where we saw Mimblewimble, that is the thing that has given Litecoin completely private transactions with an on and off switch, depending on what you want to do, is now, usable on Bitcoin. But I think that developers are waiting a little bit more until the regulatory smoke clears before they decide to launch any of that. So the news is that Litecoin now also has NFTs. I find it more interesting than a typical, NFT platform simply being thrown on top of these things. What's happened before is that you have historically seen someone will create another chain, another layer, and then create a cryptocurrency exchange or an NFT platform on top of that. So you'd have a layer 2 something that's on top of Bitcoin, and the finality of the transactions would record on the Bitcoin blockchain. But now you're seeing like the actual Satoshis are the actual NFTs. I don't know what you would call a small Litecoin. Is it a light Toshi? I'm actually not really sure. What's the guy who created it again? Oh, gosh. Charlie Lee. Do you call them Lee Toshis? I don't think they have a name. Anyway, the point is, yeah, this is actually kind of cool. I assume these will also begin to take off. No more extra news there, except for this was also incredibly popular. It says not just Bitcoin, ordinals are now on Litecoin. I wish them the best. I hope they do incredible, and I know that they will, because people go crazy for a lot of weird different things. Sometime during the course of, I give it end of this year, beginning of next year, when prices have probably risen and people are going crazy once again for the market, we're going to start hearing about the NFT projects that launched on Litecoin that are very popular and making millions of dollars. That's just a prediction. It's more of a, we know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. That's the Litecoin now has NFTs, and they're like native to the chain. So I assume they're happening on the individual small Litecoin pieces. Cool. Yeah. Let's move on. Also in big news, but not as big as the other one's news, Google's cloud computing operator is to become a validator on the Tezos network. Google's cloud corporate customers will soon be able to deploy Tezos nodes, a type of computer that runs a blockchain software to validate and store the history of transactions in order to build Web3 applications on the network. I think people see news like this and they get a little shocked, or like they, not that you shouldn't be happy. Please, by all means, celebrate if you're holding some Tezos. It's more of a, Google has their hand in every single cookie jar, like 18 of them at the exact same time. Years ago, the indication or the idea was that companies getting into the cryptocurrency space would simply and only be into Bitcoin. A lot of companies were in the very beginning. However, as Bitcoin rises by 5%, other coins rise by 16%. They have less trading volume, and therefore they're easier to push up in price. As that has happened multiple times, we've seen the advent of larger companies announcing they're also getting into Ethereum. They're running Ethereum nodes. They're staking Ether. They're supporting Cardano. They like Tezos. They like one of the other ones and all the other coins. You kind of get the point. So it's unsurprising that Google would have become a validator for a network that is as large and as popular as Tezos. Tezos is also what I like to call one of the corporation coins. The number of coins that popped up 2, 3, 4 years ago, somewhere roughly within that time frame, that got huge amount of backing from larger companies almost instantaneously. That is to say, it took years for anyone to even mutter the word Bitcoin instead of saying blockchain. It took 9 decades for someone to even be like, yeah, we find promise in Ethereum, but a number of coins released on a Monday, and by Friday, we heard that these large companies were into them. They were made and funded by large companies and institutions, and this is why they adopted them so quick. So cool. Google is now going to be a validator, or Google's cloud computing operator is now going to be a validator on Tezos. They're validators on multiple other chains as well. Do you think that Google, Amazon, and every other big name out there, that they're simply standing on the sidelines as this space develops when they could also be making hundreds of millions of billions of dollars by validating transactions or mining cryptocurrencies? Do you think none of these companies at all are mining Bitcoin or planning to be staking their Ether? We even heard from I think JP Morgan Chase also announced they're also going to be staking Ether. They're all into the space. So cool. I guess it's another level of validation when you have a company as dystopianly large as this one is, who's going to be a validator for the Tezos network. So fantastic. That's wonderful. That's news. Yeah. Let's move on. There's a lot of really weird news floating around, not only the last couple of weeks, but also just in general. And I'm noticing a very odd pattern. So I've been reading a book, not affiliated in any way. I do not get commission for these things, unlike the links in my what is that thing called? The little box below the video. I can't think of the word right now. I've been reading a book, and if you want to read this book, I would, heavily suggest it. It's called The Divide: American Injustice in the Age of the Wealth Gap. It's called by Matt Taibbi. That is Taibbi. It's a great book. I'm very keen myself on reading books about finance, global market movements. I love books about cryptocurrencies, and even, I dare say, cryptocurrency scams. And I read about them because I want to know what they look like in their entirety, so I can not only stay away from them myself, but you've heard how many times here I'm always telling all of you, like, stay away from this. This is clearly bad. In the book, The Divide, it basically follows, it's based on real life, like it's not a story, but it's about the way that the American system and the world financial system has kind of developed, where we see, how do I say this? The people who actually do bad, if you will, from an ethical standpoint, tend to be the people who go unscathed the most. So for those of you not looking at the screen, it says the New York Department of Financial Services ups the heat on market manipulation and insider trading within the cryptocurrency space. So a lot of the times when you hear about these things are meant to scare you. No question about that. Understand that. When you hear these things, they are meant to terrify you in some sort of way, or make you think that crypto is bad, or crypto is even worse than the traditional financial system. You've heard about it so many times. We've had news maybe here before. Sometimes I don't talk about it because I find it completely nonsensical, where you'll hear that someone who was into crypto laundered $500,000 in Bitcoin from Tokyo to Vancouver, or someone was found guilty of running a cryptocurrency ring where they made $4.5 million but didn't announce it to the tax people or to regulators. And this is what crypto does. It allows people to launder money. But it's all the word's not even like a smoke screen. It's more of it's a gigantic deflection, reflection, election, where the people who are actually laundering the billions of dollars, who are doing the most damage to the world's economy, who collapsed the world's economy, who causes the inflation rate to rise to 11+%. These are the actual problems. But the news that we will keep getting is that something's wrong in crypto. Things have to be changed. Things have to be so-and-so. And this is why I think the idea or the event of FTX was such a big thing, because they were basically used as a gigantic, evil scapegoat. They were used as this right here is the problem within the cryptocurrency space. I told you all before, they're all doing the exact same things. We had news a couple of weeks later. You can find the video. I think I titled it I told you this was going to happen, where we got news that allegedly Binance was also mixing user funds with their so-and-so and might have allegedly also been using it for trading and all this other stuff. They're all doing the same thing. A lot of the news that was floating around today had to do with this SEC crackdown. NYDFS is looking to get the real criminals. The SEC is coming after the bad guys, and it's like the SEC is not going after the bad guys. The New York Department of Financial Services is not raising the heat on market manipulation, because if they were, they'd be going directly after the people on Wall Street. Directly after them. The people who we know have laundered and are currently laundering billions of dollars around the world. The people who made the law and the code to fit them, so that when they are caught laundering $5 billion, they only pay a $50 million fee. It's a very, very, very good book. Once again, the name is The Divide: American Injustice in the Age of the Wealth Gap. It is, I mean, incredible. It's really funny. I have a whole bunch of other books that are also going to be delivered sometime soon. I ordered 4 at the exact same time. And I know that I can't read 4 books at a time, but I want to so bad. It's so crazy. Anyway, yeah, very weird news floating around. This will probably also, the words not cease, but will cool off. A lot of these people do it for, and I hate the term, the clout, but they do it just to simply say that they're sitting in a position where they did something to bring down the evil wrongdoers, knowing good and well who they should be going after, but they can't because a lot of these people have also been completely paid off. So that's there. Also, oddly, in the news today, and I don't know what sparked it, I'm not sure what brought it about. There's a lot of like SEC, Ripple, XRP, weird news kind of going on. It says Attorney John Deaton recalls criticism of the SEC by Judge Sarah Netburn in the XRP lawsuit. Basically, this guy found information from, I think, sometime last summer after Ripple was trying to get the Hinman files given to them. Basically, these files would show why Bitcoin and Ether are considered commodities. It's because someone passed them money. Duh. And also why every other coin in the space has not been classified by anything. And apparently the judge said she found it very weird that the SEC was trying to rule by enforcement as opposed to just giving proper regulation as to whatever, like what's actually going on. If you don't find it weird that the only 2 coins that have the largest lobby in the cryptocurrency space are the only 2 coins considered commodities, right. Also tying directly into that, SEC Chair Gary Gensler hides dirty secrets, crypto law unveils them. People have been looking into what the SEC has been doing, their former cases, the things that they got wrong, the things that they allegedly said incorrectly, and all these other really, I don't know what brought it about today, but for some reason today was XRP SEC day. XRP lawyer exposes SEC's crypto custodian shakeup, reveals shocking hidden agenda. It's not that shocking. You can't have, now it's one thing if I'm making videos and I'm like, whoa, that's shocking. You can't have everyone else also know. At that point, it's not shocking because we all understand that something is amiss afoot, something's wrong there. You also, for those of you who missed it last week, the commissioner of the SEC, Hester Pierce, she even came forward and was like, something's wrong here. When you have one of your teammates being like, guys, maybe we shouldn't do that play, that kind of spells trouble. So I'm not sure. We're still waiting. We are all collectively still waiting for the finality of this lawsuit to be over. We got news. It should be sometime Q1 of this year. I assume the judge has a lot of paperwork to look at, to deliberate on, or whatever the case might be. Just do it. Judge person, because I assume not only can you read, but you can probably, and excuse my French here, you can probably smell the BS from a mile away. So, Anyway, yeah, that's the XRP SEC lie, Gary Gensler, shocking hidden agenda news story. I don't know. We all know what's going on. We all know. We weren't even in the courtroom. We all know exactly what the SEC is up to because you would just simply give, like, even during all this time, since FTX collapsed, think about that. It's been almost 4 months, if you can believe it. Have we received, well, I'm not even in the States. Have you received any proper cryptocurrency regulation since then? Have there been any, extra framework been released that says what crypto exchanges can and can't do? Has the SEC mandated proof of reserves? Has a list been put out that says you need this many validators to be considered decentralized? You need this many users? You can't hold more than... Nope, none of it. No, none. Zero. Nothing. And you're not going to get any either. That's corruption. That's how you make sure that you keep people in the dark while telling them to constantly be afraid of you. News. Okay. Let's move on. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Martin Steuer, Bodie McBoatface, Sam Ratter, Dotha Diddy, Manny Cryptos, Crypto Gambino, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Jamie Saad, and let's move on. Empire Queen, Roman Gaba, Bitcoin, Ben Arachno, Dave the Dealer, Zen Captain, Something in the Z-Way, Lay, Mo, Baranzi, VB Nerd 21, Lauren De Silva, Quarter Biddy, Troy, All Good, Space Case, Need a Miracle, Pattern, Noster, Navarro, Williams, Utopia 569, Moonman High, XRP, Nostromo, John Sarsi, The Animal Reader, Bibliophobia, Adam Graysick. And it's funny, I was trying to do everything in one breath and I was like, I can't do it anymore. Adam Graysick, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Setsuna, Paxis, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Yes to Crypto, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Bake Me a Cake, Tigara, Macho Nisa, and On Crypto with Lionel. I read that as something completely different. If you've ever, this is weird, if you've ever played Yu-Gi-Oh! I saw the name On Crypto with Lionel, but I looked at it very quick. And it looked like Delinquent Duo. And I was like, there's no Delinquent Duo on my Patreon. I don't know who that is. And I had to like blink and look at it again. Maybe time for some new glasses. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you to all the new Patreon members. Thank you to everyone who watches every single day. I thank you. 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 Thank you to everyone who has left a like, left a comment, who has subscribed, who's a member of the channel. Thank you to all the new subs out there as well. Thank you to everyone who has purchased my art. I do appreciate it. I'm trying to like heavily get back into it. I'm doing so many things. I don't know if you've all been realizing. I have the TMI channel. I have the Money Rules channel. I'm trying to do Money Rules every day. It's a bit of a struggle doing 2 channels every single day. I still am trying to revive the video game channel because I love playing video games and there's other things I'm also planning for that channel. I also have the travel channel that's also still out there as well. There's a lot going on, and that's before I'm even like actually living my life. I have so many things that I'm focused on and I'm trying to do. It's just a lot. At the moment, Bitcoin is down by 2.7%. Ethereum is down by 2.5%. Binance Coin is down by 2%. XRP is down by 1%. You kind of get the idea. They went down when the world markets also went down as well. It is just completely logical. You can see that they're trying to move back up. I assume in the next couple of hours, we should be seeing the U.S. stock futures. If they're going down, prices will continue to go down. If stock futures begin to go up, the cryptocurrency space will also be moving up as well. Dogecoin is really trying to move up right now. It is like, boop, trying to pop up. Nothing really has broken the trend. Litecoin's up by 0.87. Sure, why not? Still looking for the halving event to take place. It's really funny. Sometimes I wish that Litecoin was actually lower in price. Not that I think that Litecoin is going to go to $5,000 anytime soon. It's something about Litecoin that I always wish I had more in my portfolio, but I end up focusing on so many other coins more, like Sandbox and Ethereum and yada yada, you name it. But yeah, anything else crazy? Filecoin is up by 6.97 percentile points. Everything is roughly down between 3.5%. Tezos is up by 4%. I assume off of the goggle news. The graph is down by 11. It's the graph, what have you. Yeah, I do hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Tell me if you end up getting the book. Once again, not affiliated in any sort of way. I'm not being paid for it. It's just like, I want people to be as informed as possible. I bought mine on eBay. It was a used copy, but it looks pretty pristine for around $9 to $10. I think that's where I bought it for. So, you know. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. Also, new Money Rules coming out today. Don't miss it. See you.